Alright, so a lot of you guys were asking for a world boss video, so here we are. I'm going to be talking about the shop first, exactly how it works, and then we're going to get into the guide for the team. So I just want to make one quick video for this, and I also want to talk about the crafting system within this, because of the fact that this is the only place that we could currently craft. Now, I do want to first say that one thing that I think was a missed opportunity that I've already talked about in one of my previous videos going over the full patch information like after the game was live, is that there's no reroll stones in this shop, which does suck because of the fact that on JP's version, right, they did actually have the reroll stones on the second time it came around. Now, the thing is with this is that they just added the reroll stones and they had the world boss, so to me, this was the perfect time for reroll stones to be added, but they decided no. For free-to-plays at the moment, there is 0 ways to get reroll stones, okay? So, that does kind of suck, but it's whatever. So let's start with okay, so I'll explain this first. So basically there's 3 parts and every part has 2 waves, right? And you can see that there's certain buffs for wave 1 and wave 2. So like if there's 8 to 7 turns left, these are the buffs that you're gonna have, and then like down to 2 and 1, these are the buffs that you're gonna have. So some important ones could be if you use an alt on turn 8 and 7, you get an extra turn. Then on wave 2 to 1, or sorry, turn 2 to 1 left, you could get your ultimate back at the start of the turn, right? And then maybe per debuff, they do 3% of the target's max HP as extra damage, right? And then the skill 1 does more damage here, so you would maybe want someone with a very strong single target skill 1, right? So that's a couple things that I think is to note. So yeah, now you're able to get different rankings here to D to A, D to S, and then D to SSS, which does look very nice if you do get it. Now, there is different amounts of rewards, and you can get a lot more than just 5 to 8 and 3 to 5 of the purples, and a lot more of these coins. It could be gotten many times, right? So that is that. Now, there was a raid reward that I'm pretty sure I got. Did I get it? I did. Now, the reason is because I actually did it. I did 2. I did part 1 and part 2 before it actually got to 0% HP. Now, you could still challenge it, but the fact is that without it, without the HP, you are not able, if you attacked after the HP reached 0, you would not be getting any of the rewards from that. So you would be missing out on quite a lot. And the problem with that is, if we go to rankings, the top ones are cheaters, at least this one. So that is 52 million that, you know, early on was like gonna for sure help kill the boss. So, you know, especially on other servers, I saw one at, what was it, like 50 million, like to multiple times. So for other servers, if you didn't have the chance, it's mainly because of cheaters. So I think a compensation of sorts would be nice. Now, there is a certain amount of things extra rewards you could get depending on your ranking, and if you're in top 50, at least you start getting tickets. So that's that. Now we'll talk about the exchange center. So from here, the only things I really recommend getting is going to be the orange stuff. And then I would say getting these gear crafting chests is not a bad idea. Now, the thing is, I do want to hop over to KR real quick. Well, if we look at it, right, it is costing a lot less to actually craft gear on KR and to actually choose a gear and it being a guaranteed LR. Now, why I'm like actually making a big deal out of this is because when you go, let me go back to the hideout. When you go to Vanessa and you go to your, what's it called, the gear crafting, where let's go here, and you go to craft gear. Well, you're gonna see if you want to choose one of the pieces, okay, it's gonna be either UR or LR, and it's taking 300 crystals, which is much worse than what they're offering on KR, where it's taking 10, and if you look, it's only LR. So at the moment, what I would recommend is I would recommend to buy the crafting packs, right? You could get them, right? There's nothing wrong with them. You would be getting them, but you would be waiting, okay? So that is what I would say, because of the fact that it's not really worth it to craft right now, but it's not bad in the future. So like getting them is not bad. It's going to be using the same resources forever. So you could also, by the way, realize that the coins, if you keep them for the next time, well, then they're still going to be there. So when they do decide to be smart and put the reroll stones with these things for free to plays, because as you can see right now, you can't get it anywhere free to play, it's going to probably be in the world boss, like it was on JP for the second time. So that's what I would recommend doing with your coins. You could either buy this and or wait a bit. So like maybe get 2 craftings, and then with the rest of your coins, just wait for when they bring this shop back in the future. I don't know when, right? So now let's talk a bit about the teams, right? I do want to talk about first that having debuffs on this side is better because of the extra damage here, and also having someone who has a good skill 1 single target on the wave 2 is better because of the fact that it's going to do extra damage. Then on the left side, having someone who needs like extra turns and stuff is good here, right? And then afterwards, someone who like does like their ult, it's just nice for the ultimate on the left side. So we'll look at gear after, if I remember. Hopefully I do, but just to kind of explain, the way these teams are going to work is you want to have someone to sustain your team, aka a healer or a barrier unit. So if you want Noelle, it is very possible she is able to, if you proc the skill to a 20% cooldown reduction in the talent slot. So if you go to talents, this one right here is the one you'd want to have on Noelle for her to be able to be used pretty effectively within this raid. Now what I would recommend is having one support unit, Mimosa, just a healer. So it could be Mimosa, the SR Charmy or Summer Charmy, I'd say are the 3 main ones that I would choose at the moment. I wouldn't really recommend the Red Charmy, but if you Red Mimosa, but it is fine if you do have her and want to use her, so that's another pick. But for barriers too, if you maybe want to use Rhodes and then season 2 Noelle instead of healers, it is something that could be maybe in discussion, but I would say healers just work a bit better, right? Especially Mimosa, because she extends debuffs on her skill 2, which is very strong. Now afterwards, having someone to like speed you up and increase attack is probably the best way to go about it, and then someone else to do just like extra damage increases is not a bad idea. Okay, and then you have your DPS. Now the 2 main DPS that I would recommend, now I'll just show you this to kind of like give you an example. Gonseraf, right? This is the account that I use, and I actually did give him his score, right? Maybe he got a bit higher, but besides that, I think I got, let me check our DMs, but I got 8.9 million with him, and then he pushed it a bit further with the almost exact team, except for the fact that now he's using Noelle, which definitely does help for counters, you know, so definitely someone to consider. Now just wanted to like kind of tell you that I just autoed it, right? You could easily auto this, right? Now for the team 2, I would say Blue Yami does work better on this side because of the fact he's getting the increased skill 1 damage, and he has a very strong skill 1, especially since he's blue. It's better to put him in the side that's an attacker, aka having less defense. Okay, now this team is going to be a bit more tanky. It's going to have the debuffer, and all of that is going to be good. So I'm almost tempted to put Charlotte in Sally's slot, which I am probably going to do just because of the fact it's going to play out better in terms of having more debuffs and all of that, right? So we're going to go for this, and yeah, so yes, here are my auto presets that we're gonna just let play within it, and we're gonna see how much we could get. Obviously it's my first time doing this, but to be fair, I've done it on the Seraph's account. So yeah, these are the auto presets, and I mean, yeah, that's essentially it. Lotus works very well here because of how many debuffs you can apply, and he has debuff extension, so there's definitely that to consider in this. So I mean, yeah, let me just make sure that everyone has gear. You get to see it. So this is attack gear, Charlotte with his defense. This, well, let's put it on him right now if I can. Speed gear, and then this is magic attack gear. Then Yami has attack gear, William has speed gear, Charmy has HP gear, and Lotus has speed gear. Okay, so we're good to go in, and we'll see how this plays out. Okay, should play out pretty well. Now, of course, you want 2 main DPSs. If you want to use, I'll give all the DPS units that you could use afterwards. Okay, so just I'll need to remember that. But that's what we're gonna be doing after. So yeah, he gets extra turns, and that's basically how it's gonna play out, which is why it's gonna go very well for Asta right now. And he's just gonna do a bunch of extra turns. Okay, my Asta is not exactly the most built, but it's still overall fine. Now, I forgot how the why or how the stuns work, but it is what it is, I guess. So it seems that they did reduce the amount of turns a bit from before, because before it was, I think, 12 turns on JP, but I don't fully remember, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. So there is that. Now this side is a defender, which means he is going to be much more tanky than the other side, which is basically going to be my try and go crazy on one side alone. Now if you have Summer Noelle, then it's going to go a lot better on the part 2, I would say, than having Charmy, especially since they're all blue. It should go pretty well, where this team obviously is 3 red, so there is that. Now the poison things are going to start stacking up, doing extra damage, giving you the ticks, right? So 381, and it does like 20k about, and that obviously is going to have a lot of ticks in the future. So we need Mimosa to, you know, kind of start getting a bit quicker and making sure no one dies. Because if someone does die, then that's GG, right? But there you go. Get the heal, and now we're back to normal, and it's all good. But of course, those AoEs are very annoying. But as long as Finral tries to keep us quick and all that, we are looking pretty good. This side's damage obviously is not going to be the craziest, right? Now, having max duped units and all that stuff does make it a lot better. Having a good Asta too, which my Asta is not exactly necessarily the best. So, Mimosa better use her ultimate here. Please? Okay, thank you. Because sometimes it messed up the auto, but now we're basically chilling. Nothing's gonna kill us. So this side obviously is gonna be very low, but the hopes is that the other side is when everything starts to go crazy, right? That's when we need the damage to start rolling in. If not, we're gonna switch up the teams to something else. But yeah. So Asta damage-wise, on this is pretty good. You could obviously try Raya, Jack, something like that, right? For sure. So at this point, I'm pretty sure this is the left side. Yeah, so they're going to get back their ults just for, like, you know, existing. Which on this part is just really good. And look at that. He's going to... Is he just going to... Imagine he kept on getting his ult again, bro. That would be insane, man. But yeah, no. Asta being able to do that is kind of crazy, right? And they're just going to keep on getting their SP back, which is very good. Now, it would be nice, obviously, if Asta... Or if the boss died before we got to Asta's turn, but it is what it is. Being able to do this many hits, wow, that was not a lot of damage, but that's because of the total defense. But the amount of ults we're getting is kind of like, it's just satisfying, man. It really is. And I'm going to guess this is going to get the kill. Okay. Now, SSS for sure is going to be more doable on the other side than this side. Now, Asta, technically, unless it's only for turn like 1 and 2, then I think... It's very, yeah, okay, we might actually... Damn, bro. These buffs go crazy. I think, yeah, Asta might get multiple ults in here, right? One and then another one, and then, yep, there you go. 91k, let's go. And I think that's it. So 1.3 million on this side. Now we're hoping on the other side to get a lot higher. We're gonna have to see, though. We're gonna have to see. So if I get at least 4 or 5 million, that is overall the goal, I guess. But I feel like Blue Yami could kind of go crazy. So yeah, his skill 1 damage is what from, I think, is it now? I forgot when his skill 1 damage goes up, but yeah, okay. So we're looking fine. I think damage wise it's gonna start getting crazy, especially when Lotus does his debuff extensions. I wish you could like extend the debuff extensions to another turn also, where like instead of extending it for 1 turn, it's for 2 turns. Now, Charmy, yeah, 300k there. That's what I mean. So, like, that's from the skill 1 because of the fact that, well, debuffs now we're starting to get up there. And also because the skill 1, right? I really hate that we get stunned in this. Might be a reason for why you'd want to run a Rod S, for sure. But 472k, that's good. I feel like Blue Yami for this is just really good. There's not many reasons to say he wouldn't be good for this. Now, yeah, Lotus's skill 2 does work very well in this, but I think this should do a lot of damage. Oh, it's the skill 2, huh? I was expecting the skill 1, but now we're on 4 SP, so Yami's skill 1 will be going crazy. Now, look at that. We have a bunch of incapacitates going like to very high numbers, right? And we have 3 turns left, so I think although, by the way, all those debuffs, if we check it out, is it here? Where do we click? All those debuffs, 50%, and then incapacitate every time. Then reducing speed, damage, res, right? So, a lot of debuffs, and they're all going to start coming into play. Doing the extra ticks of damage at the end. Now, this should do a lot. 257 is pretty decent. I think we could go for a solid 4 million. Which, I actually don't know how good that would be. Because, like, 8 million was, what? I don't remember. I really don't. Was it 8? When I got 8 million, it was, like, very high up. Now, wow, that did a lot of damage. Was it 150 from Lotus or some shit? But I think every hit's gonna be, yeah. Let me just make sure that every hit now, or every attack is going to be a hit, because I'm pretty sure damage goes crazy right now. So that's kind of how you want to play it, right? Just getting those hits in. 125, then an extra 500k. Okay, and now we're just gonna skill 1 with Willie, or we could even go for this. We could go for this defense pen, and we get the blue Yami hit. Okay, 962. We're up to 6 mil. And Lotus will just ult to keep getting debuffs. 372. And Charmy just go for the attack. Or I guess we're ulting with blue Yami now. So we get this 188 and then 500k because Lotus is there. Well, Lotus debuffs, I mean. And then we get the other hidden. Bop! 367. And that's... I didn't know it would be doing this much at the end. But yeah. That's 7.7 million damage done right there. Because you really do want to have a debuffer on this side. Lotus for sure is the best. But if you don't have Lotus... So let's see what ranking I got. You know, I feel like besides Lotus... In terms of debuffers, there's not as many that are going to be as good. Why did it bring me here? Okay, interesting. I'm ranked 70. Alright, that's cool. So, the ones that would work besides that, obviously you could just put Charlotte in there. Charlotte could be swapped, but having a debuffer here. Charlotte, Real, those two work. Nebra 2 could work. We've already talked about Nebra for the raid, right? So there is that. Now, let's talk about the DPSs that you could use. I think that that's a pretty good section to have separately. So as for the DPS, I would say that single targets, right? So you could use Red Yami because the enemies would constitute as a boss if you don't have Red Asta. And especially if you have at least a dupe 2, you get the 14% increased damage dealt. And his skill 2 is doing an extra 30%. Now, I would use this for the first half because of the fact you want to blue unit for the second half. So I feel like blue Yami is someone that if you want to place high, you really do need. We saw him do quite a lot of damage in that world boss. I keep on trying to say raid, but it is not a raid. It's just a world boss. So I mean, it might be a raid. So there is that. So yeah, blue Yami is definitely the best. But if you have Jack 2, for the part 2, you could try to go for like some type of nuke team, and I think it wouldn't be bad. But it wouldn't be insane, but his skill 1 does do pretty good damage, and the skill 1 damage was increased in that. So like he could give himself the skill 2, increase crit rate, increase pen, and then you have this one where it's going to be doing pretty good damage, or you could just ult and like also get that. So really any of the single target DPSs, Jack, Yami, Raya for his nuking, blue Yami, and Asta. I'd say blue Yami and Asta are probably the best at the moment. Now if Julius was out, obviously it would be a different story. You'd be using Julius and blue Yami. But that is it for now, right? Red Asta and Yami are 2 of the best, I would say, for this. I'm pretty sure I'm missing a DPS or 2, but let me just make sure because obviously... well, obviously you could put Noelle as a support, but besides that, you could maybe use Leopold. I would say that Red Asta and Yami work better because they both have increased damage against bosses. Him on his skill 2 plus his his dupe passive. And then Red Asta on his ultimate right here for 30% extra damage. And since you're able to spam that ultimate, obviously it's going to be a good amount of extra damage to have. So yeah, if you guys want other units, I really do think that as long as your healer's doing her role, then that's good. Now if you want to replace it for Summer Noelle or Rhodes, then that is for sure something that you guys could do, especially if you don't want to get stunned. Rhodes has the stun block, so I would say that let's just give a quick recap on teams and all that stuff. So I would say that for like the Mimosa and Charmy slot, it's really let's kind of organize this how exactly it should be. Okay, and then bop, and yeah. So now you've got your DPS slot, right? Then you would have a supporter slot for damage, and usually it would be Finral and William. Now if you don't have, let's say, William, maybe you could put Sally maybe on Asta's side, since the fact that Sally gives all attack plus crit damage to red units only. So then you could put Finral on blue Yami's side, right? Stuff like that. Basically any damage buffer, and at the moment these are like the 2 main ones. And then there's also Ghosh and Sally. Those are like the main 4, right? Ghosh and Sally are all attack, but they have damage increases, right, from otherwise. Now this slot would be, in my opinion, the debuffer slot. Now if you want, you could go for, if you have Raya, go for a double buff team where it's 2 buffer units, so that Raya's ult is crazy. But I would recommend maybe going more manual on that. Now obviously once a day is not that bad to do it, but it would maybe suck a bit. But Raya, if you want, then you would go maybe for double buffer, put either Sally or Ghost. And in the future, Gifso is going to be coming out. He's an SR. Then the last slot is someone to maintain you, okay? That's going to be what's it called, like a barrier unit or healers, which we have right here. Now Mimosa does work very well because she increases the buff duration by 2 turns if you have her skill page, and if you don't, then it's going to be 1 turn. But I did not have it on it right now because I think it's because I wanted to get her CC up so that I could what's it called, so I could do dispatch. But yeah, that would basically be the teams, and yeah, that's basically it. And I will see you guys in the next video. Rank 70, let's fucking go, bro. What would I be good for? Okay, well, that's cool. So yeah, I'm just gonna quick battle this, and we'll be on our merry way. But yeah, as you can see, you get 24, where we're like before we're showing like 8, but it's obviously we got it 3 times. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.